What's up guys, Den and Kemp here. I'm super excited to announce the Locker Room is teaming up with Moneyball for their biggest ever giveaway, $10,000 guaranteed cash prize pool with entry fees only $15. What that means is next Saturday in the Super Saturday round, there'll be 3 matches. 6 teams will be playing in the 3 matches. You pick your starting 9 from the 6 teams. It's really simple. You just press the plus sign next to the player you want to pick with a $60,000 salary cap. All the stats are there so you can make a really educated opinion. This is the reason why I decided to go with Moneyball as a sponsor, so you guys could get something back and make it enjoyable and just add something to the footy that you watch. Anyway, help support the show and make us be able to create more content for you guys, and head over to moneyball.com.au and sign up now. Thanks guys.
What's up guys, welcome to another episode of The Locker Room. I'm here with one of the biggest names in footy, even though he doesn't play footy anymore, Mark Geyer. What's going on?
Hello mate, it's an absolute pleasure to be part of your show. I've been watching it online and let me say you're kicking some goals.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate it. I take a lot of points from yourself and John's and the grill team in the morning. We were just talking about how crazy has the roller coaster been from you guys. As I said, 3 footy players or 2 footy players or whatever.
2 footy players and Hugh Jackman's best mate. Yeah.
and now you're a genuine radio show that is genuinely listened to. And even if, let's say you never played footy in your life, you would be a genuine radio show.
Well, I must confess that now at 48 years of age, there's more people who talk to me about my radio career than they do my rugby league career, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's good.
Look, if you said to me 7 years ago that you'd be on a radio show for 7 years and closing in on 10 years in probably the hardest market in the world, Sydney breakfast, that I'd say you were joking, but yeah, we are, and it's an absolute honour to be part of the show, and I think still living in the West. I represent a pretty big margin of people, and I have great solace in that.
Yep. And so, do you think it is that you continue to live in the West, you continue to, I guess, be the knockabout bloke that you're just a normal guy, so you've kind of got that point of contact with the normal person that can really relate to you in that show? Do you think that is it? Or?
Oh yeah, I definitely think so. I think I was a bit of a larrikin as a player, but I was in trouble. Both on and off the field, and I always put my hand up and said, "Yeah, I am. I'm a bullfed. Let's move on." I think sometimes players these days they get behind the PR juggernaut and they don't confess their sins straight away, which kind of leads to more pain down the track.
Yep, that's very true.
A lot of front foot work, I would advise these days, would be a lot better for both parties. And I think having a strong tie to the western suburbs, I can tell you how bad the M4 is to drive in on, and the M5 and the M7, and I actually live and breathe it. So, and most of our audience, both on TV and radio, comes from the great people of the western suburbs. So it's good to be part of it.
And so, do you think that what are the similarities between having your own show and playing footy? Are there similarities as in being consistent, preparing, and mentally being always, on the ball? What are the similarities that you could draw between being this huge media presence, but also being this, ex-footy player?
That's a pretty good question, because the fact of the matter was I relished the part of rugby league where I could get my anger out in defence.
Oh, okay. Yep.
I knew that it was a release, that every time I since a young age, maybe of, 15, 16, I realised I had this inner volcano.
Yep.
That was quite proactive as a rugby league player.
Yep.
So I'd use it to my advantage, often getting a lot into trouble, but being the intimidator of the team.
Yep.
Radio is a lot different, where you can't tackle or punch or run the ball at someone you don't like, but you can use things to your advantage and affect a lot more people.
That's very true.
We've got over 300,000 or 400,000 people who listen to us every week, and it's a responsibility I don't take lightly. I know that when I say something, I've got to mean it. Yep. Because people have got long memories and they quickly go back to something you're stuffed up on, and I'll put my hand up if I say something wrong that I know I've said wrong. Well, like I said in 2010, the Dragons would make the 8 and they won the comp. But I copped it all year from the Dragon supporters, and it was, it's the comparisons are discipline, as you mentioned. You're right on the money. I've got to be in bed each night at around 8:30. Yep. I've got to do research about who our guests are the following day. and I've got to get up at 3:30 in the morning to come in from Penrith to the city.
Oh God.
So that's the discipline part of it. But I'm home by 10:30 most days.
Yep.
I get to train. I get to pick my kids up from school, and I get to do all the other activities that most dads can't do because they're still stuck at work. So
Yep.
there's obviously pros and cons of every job, but I wouldn't swap this one for anything.
And when you decided to do radio, was it a conscious decision, as in, I enjoyed the media, I enjoyed the attention, or was it, a more of your? Because I was speaking to Ben Eichen the other week, and he said he kind of just fell into it and was, due to his, I guess, nature, he was always prepared for opportunities, I guess. Was it similar to yourself, or were you actually actively enjoying it, actively wanting to be a part of it?
You know what I said to a reporter in about 1995? So I was over at Western Reds, and we're on I remember it vividly. I think it was Greg Pritchard, who is a kind of a freelance writer now. He's written for all the big papers and Rugby League Week.
Yep.
And he asked me then, he said, "What are you going to do when you retire?" Which is a few years away. I said, "Oh, mate, honestly, I want to get into the media."
Oh, okay.
He said, "Do you know that only 1, maybe 2% of ex-players are lucky enough for that to happen?"
Mate. Yeah.
And I said, "Well, no, but now, I do now." And then I kind of retired from footy in 2000, and I didn't really have a plan B. I had 3 kids at the time.
Damn.
I wasn't ready for retirement because I wanted to have one more year.
Yep.
But I was 32, and Roy Simmons, who was my coach then, who was my ex-teammate, he kind of got me into a room like this, and he said, "MG, I just want to show you something." And he had 2 monitors. He had a big TV screen here and one over here. And one here was me in my prime in the 90s as a rugby league player. And here in the other screen was me in my last year in 2000.
Oh, okay.
And he had them playing at the same time. I said, "What have you got that one on slow mo for?" He said, "No, it's actually fucking brutal, mate. It was brutal."
Why have you got it on slow mo for?
So I said, "I get the point.
Yeah.
It's time to give it away." He said, "I just don't want you to lose too much of that, what you had there. I don't want people to remember you for that more than that."
Yeah, very true.
And, at the time I was disappointed because I was on good money.
Yep.
I knew that I'd have to forsake that to go into the working force, but I didn't know what I was going to do.
Yep.
So luckily I had a knight in shining armour come along called Lou Zavanovic, who was an ex-player for Penrith, who had a clothing company. He had a building company. An offspring of that was a scaffolding company.
Yep.
And an offshoot of that was a clothing company called Scat Sportswear. I would go out in the back of a Commodore that he gave me and have basically clothing in the back of my car and go to schools and footy clubs and ask them if they wanted to buy that material.
So you just went like door-to-door sales?
Door-to-door, cold calls.
Oh, my God. Man.
I went from being the security of a team environment to having 3 kids and a mortgage, from getting $350,000 a year down to $700 a week.
Oh.
So I've never been depressed, or I've never been that way inclined, but I was anxious.
Oh, mate.
I was anxious.
Mate.
And then about halfway through that year, I don't know what happened. I'd spoken at a function somewhere, and Terry Kennedy from 2KY and does the roast on the footy show still.
Yep.
He rang me up, and he was at C7, a new digital channel that was kind of trying to rival Fox.
Okay.
And he said, "We're putting together a rugby league show with himself, Steve Roach, Roy Masters, and they wanted to see if I wanted to join the panel."
Yep.
Called Rugby League Winners. So that was every Thursday night. We'd film that at, I think it was at Sky Channel, and that was it. That was my first foray into the media.
Yep.
That year, I got an opportunity to write for Rugby League Week.
Yep.
And same year, I picked up a radio gig with C91.3 in Campbelltown, doing Fridays and Mondays.
Yep.
Then I started work at 2SM from 3 till 7 in the Arvo, talking sport.
Yep.
Then with Triple M, Dead Set Legends on the Saturday. And then all of a sudden, 7 years ago, I got a call from the boss saying, "Would you like to audition for a new breakfast show?" And I did, and got the gig.
Wow. So I mean, it was a genuine, like, it was as if you served your apprenticeship for those kind of first, just getting gigs here and there, and then you got and you still had to audition. What was that like? Was that like a game?
Oh, scary.
Yeah.
Because I'd been sitting at home each Sunday, as you do, go through the Sunday papers, and you go,
yeah.
And they're still looking for this. They said, Triple M are about to do a new breakfast show. They've got Gus Wallen and Stewie McGill. They're looking for the third wheel.
Yep.
And they went through 8 weeks of auditions. And I was over at 2SM one day about to do my shift, and I had one of these phones where I was going through my saved messages, and I realised that when I'm on the phone, if I was on the phone to you and somebody else was trying to ring me, that call would go straight to saved messages instead of call waiting.
Oh, okay, yep.
So I had about 12 saved messages, and one was from the boss at Triple M who said, I've been trying to get hold of you. This was 2 weeks after his initial call, and I think, I've stuffed it up. I'm no chance.
Yep.
And he said, could you come in tomorrow morning for an audition? And I went in at 10:30 and did 2 breaks with the boys, and that was in the August, and the main man offered me a 3-month contract as a trial.
Oh, so you still there was no
No.
definition. You would just kind of but you would have to knock back other things and risk going on that 3 months trial.
I did.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah, I severed all ties with 2SM because of that, which was a regular income.
Yep.
But the opportunity to do breakfast radio in Sydney was too big a carrot dangled in front of me. So I just said, okay, look, let's make this work. And a month into it, I signed for 2 years.
Wow.
And the rest, this is our 7th year. So yeah, it's a responsibility I don't take lightly, having a voice on such a big radio station. But it's something that's also like sitting with your mates at a barbecue, just talking about the facts of life. You know, what are affecting you, and it's our job to make people's lives in cars on the way to the work in the cities say, yep, me too.
Yeah. It's just taking you back a little bit. That the moment when you had.
What's up guys, Den and Kemp here. I'm super excited to announce the Locker Room is teaming up with Moneyball for their biggest ever giveaway, $10,000 guaranteed cash prize pool with entry fees only $15. What that means is next Saturday in the Super Saturday round, there'll be 3 matches. 6 teams will be playing in the 3 matches. You pick your starting 9 from the 6 teams. It's really simple. You just press the plus sign next to the player you want to pick with a $60,000 salary cap. All the stats are there so you can make a really educated opinion. This is the reason why I decided to go with Moneyball as a sponsor, so you guys could get something back and make it enjoyable and just add something to the footy that you watch. Anyway, help support the show and make us be able to create more content for you guys, and head over to moneyball.com.au and sign up now. Thanks guys.
You know, pretty much no job. You've just been dropped from 350 to 700 a week. A lot of men face this pressure of kids, wife. You know, I feel like a lot of guys are going to watch this are going to feel be able to relate to you in that sense. Can you tell us, you know, what were the thoughts in your head when you had that? You know, it felt like a mountain on you. You know, you've gone from all this money to $700. You're no longer this. You're that ex-NRL player. You're that guy that's rocking up to people's houses selling. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, I was in a coal terminal with coal dust all over my face, and it was mentally, and just that kind of, not the fall from grace, but it's just a hard thing to accept.
Harsh reality.
Yeah.
You feel inept.
Yep.
Because you've gone from 15 years. I went for 15 years of first grade to rocking up at public schools without the principal not even recognising who I am, saying, "Look, I'm trying to." You know, and then getting brushed and it kind of made me stronger. And I think if any players are watching this and they do go through similar situations, I suppose you don't say no to anything.
Yep.
Like I wasn't a salesman. I didn't know how to sell shirts. I didn't know about sublimation. I didn't know about sizes. I didn't know about anything.
Yep.
But within a month, I'd learnt that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like being a rugby league player. When the coach first gives you a game plan, and gives you or even a set move where you're supposed to be in a certain place at the right time,
Yep.
You go home going, I don't know what he's talking about. But if you keep asking questions about different things, you soon find out that it's not as hard as it seems.
Yep.
And I think that was the same philosophy that I carried through to myself post-football career, that don't stay idle. Stay busy. Stay busy. Whatever you do, it's you'll find your passion.
Yep.
No matter what you do, it's whether it's driving a brewery truck, whether it's working in the mines, whether it's being on the council, whether it's doing this, whether it's being on TV, whether it's doing radio. It's your true calling comes if you just persevere, and sometimes that persevering seems like it's going to last forever.
Yep.
But if you're a good person, deep down, it'll come and help you out.
Yeah, and I guess the people you meet along the way, eventually someone's going to kind of recognise that you're a good bloke and that you're... What about that? You spoke about that kind of inner turmoil or inner anger that helped you on the field. How was that dealt with when you retired? You know, how'd you get that kind of?
Look, that was hard, you know, because I'd had 3 kids at the time, and but I think as a player, before I had kids, you know, between 85 and 95, from 17 to 27, I was very volatile and very aggressive because of the fact that I had a bit of a chip on my shoulder, you know, because of where I come from, Mount Druitt, in the western suburbs of Sydney, which often gets tainted as the Bronx. And I remember vividly, and I've told this story many a time, that there was a turning point in my rugby league career where I rocked up to a probables game for Jersey Flag, which was under 19s. I was 17 at the time. And it was the first year I played second row. I was usually an outside back or a 5'8". And
fuck, you would have been a big outside back.
Well, I was a big 5'8". You know, I was chipping out, and I didn't want to play anywhere else. I played in the wing for the PWSA under 12. So you know, it's amazing how things fucking change. It's and I remember sitting there, and I said to the coach, you know, I've gone through all these stages. What happens now? They go, now we do a possibles and probables.
Yep.
And the manager, I remember him reading out the names, and possibles, no chance of making it really. Probables, you're probably going to make it.
Yep.
Well, I was number 17 for the possibles.
Oh, really?
And the bloke, you might know him, Neil Lovett, his name is. He used to be with the Dragons, the Panthers, champion bloke.
Yep.
But back then he didn't know who I was. And he said number 17 for the possibles is Nick Geyer or Geyer. I went, wow, that's a pretty uncommon name. I looked around to see if there's another guy, and he said, mate, no, you're the skinny kid with the tape around your ears. And I went, my mum was 5 metres away, as all the parents were assembled.
Yep.
And there was only like a mesh metal fence separating us. And I went over to give her my shirt and put the jersey on and give her, and I saw a tear drop down past the sunglasses.
Oh, wow.
I said, what's up, Mum? What are you crying for? And she said, they don't even know your name. How are you going to make the team? From that moment, my mum's only 16 years older than me. She's kind of like my big sister.
Oh, okay. Young mum.
The fact that, my young mum and dad, dad was only 18. They were both, 24 and 26, and they had 4 kids living in a housing commission area.
Far out.
But mum always made an effort, and dad, to get to me, even though they had 2 jobs each, to watch me play sport.
Wow. And
I thought, no, damn you, if you can't get my name right in front of my mum who's standing right there, I'm going to make you pay for it, I thought inside.
Yeah.
So I said to the coach, who have I got to beat to make the Jersey Flag side for this year? And he pointed to 2 blokes, and they were the incumbents, and they were very tough fellas.
Yep.
And I went on with about, 3 minutes to go in the game, and Neil said, Nick, you're on. I said, mate, it's not fucking Nick, mate, it's Mark. He said, whatever. I went, oh.
He said, whatever.
Whatever, mate. It was 40-0.
You're 17 on the possibles.
I was 17.
Whatever.
Exactly. And I was getting beat 40-0. He said, just go on there and, make up the numbers. So I remember there was a break in play. One of these incumbent second rowers ran the ball at me, straight at me.
Yep.
I closed my eyes, and with everything I had, I shoulder charged him and knocked him out.
That was just 17? You were 17?
I was just turned 17.
Yeah, far out.
And I thought, who the fuck's Nick now, eh?
As if it was his fault.
Nothing to do with this poor bastard. So they carried him off.
Yep.
And then the next second rower, he said, hey, stick man. Call him.
He's layering up.
I was 6'5" and 80 kilo. Like, I was like this microphone stand. Literally, with tape around my ear. So he said, I bet you can't do that again. I went off, and I bet you I can't either. So he's kind of gone back. It felt like he went back to the try line.
Yep.
And there was a breaking play, carried him off. I was at marker again. And I ran out, and he kind of ran in straight at me. And I'd done it again. Braced myself for a shoulder charge, closed my eyes. And when I opened my eyes, everyone's patting me on the back. And they've carried him off the field as well.
No way.
2 tackles.
Far out.
I know. That's what.
2 tackles. That's it.
And Tim Sheens was at the game.
First
grade coach of Penrith at the time. And Cliff Cartwright, who was the under-23s coach at Penrith at the time.
Yep.
And Tim Sheens came over and said, what's your name, mate? I said, it's not fucking Nick.
I was about to say.
I said, mate, it's Mark Geyer. I'm from St Mary's, and I'm down here trialling for Jersey Flag. He said, no, forget Jersey Flag, and you're straight in under-23s this year.
Far out.
So I went, I played every game off the bench in 23s.
At 17.
At 17. got a game. I always got a run. Graham Murray and Cliff Cartwright kind of were. It was Graham Murray who was the coach then. I think Cliff was the year before that. But anyway, then Graham Murray coached us a year later in reserve grade. We won the comp in 87.
Oh, okay.
In 86, sorry, 85 was Cliffy Cartwright. 86 was Graham Murray when I was a regular in under 23s that year at 18.
Yep.
And then 87 was I made my first grade debut with Tim Sheens.
87 you made your first debut.
Yeah, just
so that would have been 19.
19.
Wow. Far out. What a story.
Against the Dogs of War.
So 2 years before that,
I was just playing. I was ready to give the game away.
17 possibles. They didn't even know your name. And even when you pulled them up, they were just like, whatever.
Yep.
And then 2 years later...
Well, that burned. As soon as seeing that tear come through my mum's sunnies, it's etched in my brain.
Far
I
out.
said, because she's my rock.
Yeah, and I mean...
No one makes her cry.
Oh, mate.
It's kind of like the Dirty Dancing. Don't put baby in the corner.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake. Just don't make mum cry.
Yeah,
And then that's kind of how... That was my ethos. Ron Willie come to the club. He wanted me to be the biggest, baddest hombre. He said, look at the size of you. He called me Mountain.
Yep.
Back then, being 6'5" and 108 kilo was the biggest in the comp with
big.
Ciro, me, a couple of other blokes. But we had 4 or 5 blokes my size who were the biggest in the comp. These days, I'm a centre or a winger. You know,
crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
We used to see kids come off the bus at school and go, there's their front rowers, there's their halfback.
Yeah,
there's their
so
hooker,
true. So true.
There's their wingers.
Yep.
But
now
a team gets off a bus, you go, who? What?
Yeah.
What? He's a half. He's 6'5".
Oh, mate, 100%.
But the game, that's how the game's morphed, and I'm quite glad I don't play these days against these monsters, to be honest.
Oh, mate, you know what I was watching the other day? Came up on the highlights is Gerard Geyer's. I know he can't play anymore, but
the in and out of Thurston,
mate. Yeah, and he was so big and so fast, and just he was 105 kilos by the end of his career, and he was lightning and his footwork. Like I reckon he could have been one of the greatest ever.
Oh, what a freak! What a freak accident, eh?
Oh, mate, like he was.
You good mates with him?
Yeah. He's an absolute champion, and what he's been through has been
Yeah, no, you wouldn't want that upon your worst enemy, would you?
Mate, no way. But it's just an example of the athletes that are playing these days, especially like the big Islander boys.
Yeah.
Like look at Sammy Rodriguez. Like he's fast, his footwork. Like back in the day, it used to be. I remember watching if they had good footwork, they were small.
Yeah.
If they had,
that's right.
If they were strong, they were big, and it was that simple.
Someone like Bryce Cartwright, who's been a prodigy since an early age.
Yep.
But now is full of feeling all that excitement that he had as a kid. He's got as far as skill goes, I've never seen a kid with more skill than him. Even at 8 or 9 or 10, you knew he was going to be a first grader.
Yep.
And that's one of the pleasing aspects of my career was playing most of my halcyon days with his uncle, John,
Okay.
with John.
Yep.
You know, me and Johnny Cartwright are good mates. We're like brothers. You know, when we played, we don't see much of each other these days.
But when you do, you kind of
pick up where we left off.
Yeah,
but we've both got young blokes the same age who are in the 20 squad and now doing other things. So yeah, it's rugby league is a game that gives you a lot if you're prepared to give it back a lot.
Oh, mate, I tell this to a lot of the boys that I speak to now. They're like, you're doing so well, and I say to them, you know what, I'm kind of, I guess, not ashamed, but I feel a bit bad about is when I was playing footy, people would say to me, the rugby league community is such a great community, and I'd be like, whatever. Every community says they're a great community, whatever. And I never appreciated it. I just kind of whatever, because I played soccer until I was 17, so I never had no idea. Anyway, since I started the show, this show, and the amount of people that are willing to just help, I use the example of, let's say you called an electrician you used to know that you work with for a year, and you said to him, "Hey mate, can you come down for half an hour and do some work on your house?"
Yeah.
He'd be like, "You're off your head." And yet,
but next footballer.
and yet, I message these guys that I've never even met.
Yeah.
And say, "Hey mate, I know that you're busy and everything. If you've ever got a spare half an hour, can you come down?" And most guys are like, "Yeah, of course, man, I'll come down." That's an example of there really is. It really is a genuine community that really will.
Well, because I think we know what we put. We all it's a brotherhood. We know what we put through ourselves through to try and get on a first grade rugby league field. It's not just running out the tunnel.
Yep.
It's the build up, the 5-10 years of people who have got to help you to get to that stage that make it all the worthwhile when you finally run out and make your first grade debut especially for your local club. You know, and when you win a grand final with your local club, well, that's orgasmic.
I don't think I ever won a grand final playing footy. Only won soccer. Anyway, so take us back to you grew up housing commission, and you also grew up in a time when the living standard has continued to rise. So, for example, the people in housing commission today aren't living anywhere near as people in a housing commission 30 years ago.
No.
You know, they've got TVs, iPhones. They're pretty sweet. Whereas back in the day, a housing commission really meant genuine housing.
We had no air conditioning. We had fans with just the swivel fans on us.
Out the west.
Yeah, we had. We'd actually sit on the veranda and pray for the southerly to come at night, and all the Venetians would rattle.
Oh, wow!
Dad would say it's coming.
Yep.
And all the doors would be open, the windows would be open, the screen doors would. Our form of cooling down was the sprinkler.
Yep.
But that's all we knew.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I love the fact that my parents were always there for me. When I was 12, they kind of both had to get up early for work, so I took over the father role in my family with my two sisters and younger brother. Sisters and younger brother.
Yep.
So I'm the oldest of four. But from as long as I can remember, I've never had more of a loving moment than growing up as a guy in my house.
Yep.
It's something that I can't imagine life without. My upbringing. I know when I was 12, my 12th birthday, Mum came to me and she was in tears again. This time was earlier than. And I said, "What are you crying for, Mum?" Like, come on. And she said, gave me an envelope. She said, "That's your birthday present." And in a card, beautiful card, from Mum and Dad and brother and sisters, is how much we love you. And then there was like 10 paddle pop sticks, coloured in different colours. And I said, "What's wrong with this?" She goes, "That's all we could afford to give you." She goes, "We hope you can race them down the storm water and, maybe have..." And so I did. So I went straight down it'd been raining intently. My birthday's in December, so it'd been raining for about a week up to my birthday, and down near the underpass near the stormwater drains, we used to have about a metre of water.
Yep.
So I'd put the paddle pop sticks in, different colours, get me mates around, pick a colour, and race them.
So you got paddle pop sticks for your 12.
Coloured in paddle pop sticks.
Far out. A kid these days, if they got that, would be like, "This is a joke. This is
They would say.
They'd go crazy.
I know. They'd say, "Where's my iPhone or my iPad or my laptop?" Look, I've got 5 kids. Each have their own needs and wants.
Yep.
But deep down, they've got my philosophy on life that everything you're given is a bloody a godsend, because you don't know what's going on for people to give you that.
Yeah, and like this is I guess the exponential growth of your parents sacrificing so much,
and their parents
sacrificing so much. Now you're in a position where you can give them a kind of privilege.
I can give them what they want.
Yeah,
but at a cost.
Yeah,
they've got to have our values and our. See, my wife has been my rock for 20. Better get this right. 23 years.
Yep.
Been together for 30 years. Met her in '86 at a rugby league presentation.
Oh, yeah.
Found out it was Greg Alexander's sister.
Okay.
At the presentation.
That would have been hard-watered tread.
I remember driving home that night, or my mate drove home because I'd been drinking, and she sat in the front seat, I sat in the back. And as soon as we got to Greg's car, again, Housing Commission House at Cranebrook, I said to her, "Which one's Greg's room?" That's all I said. "Brandy, man, come on, he's a superstar." So our relationship blossomed. She wrote to Greg, who was on the Kangaroo Tour.
Yep.
"I'm going out with an under-23s player." He wrote back, "As long as it's not Mark Geyer."
Oh, no. As long as it's not. Oh,
I was a wild boy.
I can imagine.
But his sister tamed me in more ways than one. And mate, she's helped me get through all the ups, lows, downs, highs, ins and outs of everything. Without her, and I really mean this when I say it. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I don't know where I'd be without her.
It's crazy how much that feminine energy is so strong. It's so.
But she would have given up. She would have given up where most people would have given up 6 months into the relationship. The way I treated her and the way I wanted to be this young up and coming rugby league star.
Yep, and it was all about you.
I wanted all the entrapments that come with it. I wanted a girlfriend, but I didn't want a girlfriend at the club.
Yep.
Because I wanted to show off.
Yep.
As a 19-year-old, like I do.
Yep.
But thank God,
she
persevered, because it's been a great 30 years, and hopefully we have another 30 years of.
It's amazing
of unbridled joy together.
Oh, mate, it's amazing how much, especially I find this with women, is when they've decided something, they just find a way to make it work. Whereas a lot of men will just be like,
"No, too hard.
Yeah, too hard. I've tried. It's done." Whereas a woman will just be like, "No, that decision has been made. It's going to be working. However it happens, it's going to happen."
Well, back to the story about when I was retired and I didn't know what to do for work. She said, "Babe, you've been given an opportunity here, $750 a week. I'll go out and work. We can get baby." I said, "No." I said, "My ideal of being a husband is with 3 kids under, under 5.
Yeah, give them
under 6. I want to make sure that you're at home with them.
Yep.
I don't want to foster them off to a daycare centre and have somebody else's energy and filtered into my kids' upbringing. I want it to come from us. We're their parents. So if we're going to struggle for a while,
we've got to struggle.
So be it."
Yep.
And she said, "You know what? We're in it together."
Yep.
We almost put our hands in, but we didn't.
There you go.
Yeah, kumbaya around the campfire. But no, it's unconditional love that gets you through most things, and her unconditional love for me, albeit blinded sometimes, is why I'm sitting here today doing this.
It's crazy how much the saying of behind every good man is a greater woman. Or
it's so true.
It's so true.
It is.
It's so true.
It is. Ask any bloke.
Oh, mate.
If they're fair income about themselves, I'll say that they're here. They are where they are because of their wife.
Yeah, or whether it be wife
partner.
or a mother
or partners.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Mums. Yeah.
So you made your debut, and as you said, you're a wild guy. You're a very aggressive player. Today, if you were the same guy today, it would be a very different situation. Like there would be you're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to do that. Is that something that you've you miss in the?
What's up, guys? Den and Kemp here. I'm super excited to announce the Locker Room is teaming up with Moneyball for their biggest ever giveaway, $10,000 guaranteed cash prize pool, with entry fees only $15. What that means is next Saturday in the Super Saturday round, there'll be 3 matches. 6 teams will be playing in the 3 matches. You pick your starting 9 from the 6 teams. It's really simple. You just press the plus sign next to the player you want to pick with a $60,000 salary cap. All the stats are there so you can make a really educated opinion. This is the reason why I decided to go with Moneyball as a sponsor, so you guys could get something back and make it enjoyable and just add something to the footy that you watch. Anyway, help support the show and make us be able to create more content for you guys, and head over to moneyball.com.au and sign up now. Thanks, guys.